full marathon or the half, Jacob? All right. Yo. Talk to me. We are talking. I'm talking right now. I thought you were telling me something. What was the song today, Jessica?
Do you remember the great mid-2000s hit Busybody by Paul Wall?
Oh, she a busybody.
She a busybody.
Yeah.
Busybody.
Paul Wall. Shout out to Houston. Houston rap. That was an era of Houston rap, right? Because Chamillionaire was there, Paul Wall was there, Slim Thugger was there, Mike Jones was there.
Didn't Paul Wall get into it with Chamillionaire?
Maybe.
Am I remembering that correctly?
Possibly. It would make sense if they did. That happens from time to time in one city.
I hope Billy Strings does a cover of Busybody tonight.
Oh, that would be incredible.
2 nights of Billy Strings. Look at all these fans.
Yeah.
Waiting. I went out, I did some reporting. I can't wait to tell you about that.
Okay.
I'm excited. It went straight from Busybody though on my my morning playlist run into work to I Wanna Radio Edit Love You.
Oh.
I see you whining and grinding up on the boat.
That's such a good nasty song.
'Cause you already know I wanna love you.
Is that what you want to do?
I just want to love you. It's a nice, simple song.
Such a good
Valentine's Day song. I want to love you. If I had a romantic songs playlist, I would put that one on.
I Want to Love You on there?
Yeah.
Oh, what a good song.
Absolutely.
Shout out Akon.
Akon. What's up, everybody? It is Friday, December 6th. Gonna be a good day. Jessica Benson with you from the Grind City Media Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. CJ Hurt behind the glass. Coming up on today's show, the Memphis Grizzlies get the win over the Kings. A bad call in that game, but it doesn't matter because the Grizz get the dub. We'll talk about all the happenings last night at FedEx Forum. Lang Whitaker will join us about 20 minutes in to continue the conversation. We will hit our RAGGOWs. I'm so close to 100% voice being back. Someday I'll be able to really get into the RAGGOWs once more. But it is conference championship weekend in college football. We'll get into those games, plus some big ones in the NFL. We'll end with a little Music Friday. CJ will reveal his Spotify Wrapped. I'll review my Apple Music replay. Doesn't hit quite as hard as the Wrapped, but we'll get into some music, what we're listening to going into the weekend. You know what we say. I don't know.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance, to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies checking from Pinnacle. Play hard, bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Look at that. We got the whole Grizzlies team just infiltrated our studio. Santi Aldama's in the house. Look at everybody. The whole Grizzlies team. Look at Zach Edey's in the house. John Morant's in the house. Say hello. Say hello. Yo.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
D'Anthony Melton took my little guys, to the ice cream stand. He was like, I'm going to get ice cream. You want to go with? So he took my little guys to the ice cream stand. So, guess who their favorite player is now? John Morant. But outside of that, D'Anthony Melton's pretty high up on the list. How about this? We got youth small D'Anthony Melton jerseys at our house right now. Love D'Anthony Melton. That was a fun night.
It was a fun night, man.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Who will lead the Grizz in steals this season?
I'm going to go with Pippen for steals this season.
So I'm going to go with Jaren.
I'm going to go, as long as he's in the rotation, I'm going to go Jake LaRavia for total steals, and I'll have Marcus Smart in my back pocket for steals per game.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Feels great to feel the sunshine. Gotta own the day like it's all mine. Just got paid in his own time. Been working hard, I've been on the grind. I deserve this feeling, having my way. I've been on this healing. This is my day. The sun's out, let's have a little fun now. I wanna let it all out. That's what it's all about. Cause I deserve this feeling, having my way. I deserve this healing. This is my day.
Grind City Media presents The Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt. Live from the Grind City Media Studios on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday to you. We made it to the end of a week, and we have a Grizzlies win to discuss, which that means we will be doing Grizzlies highlights as we do after each and every win. But first, I did some investigative reporting before the show today as I came into the studio, and CJ and I noticed that there were about a dozen people in lawn chairs outside FedEx Forum, more than a dozen. I'm bad with instant math, but that's a smattering of people in line outside FedEx Forum. I mean, technically we could count, but
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it's a smattering.
A smattering.
Right.
There's
they
some
got tents out there.
Well, they have tents because a good number of them spent the night outside at FedEx Forum. It was in the 20s overnight.
They spent the
here
night
in Memphis.
out there?
They spent the night. I talked with Steve and Cole. Steve and Cole are from Indianapolis and Missouri. They are big jam banders, big Billy Strings fan. One of them is also a huge Deadhead, so he goes to every single Dead show. He saw every single Dead show at the Sphere. He worked with one of the vendors, so he was there for every single Grateful Dead show at the Sphere in Las Vegas, and he plans to be back there for more. But right now, they are following Billy Strings, and I guess in jam band culture, let me teach me, there's a big thing with posters, and you have to be in line to get these special edition posters that get released, and it will be released around like 4:30 today, and they'll have two because he's playing 2 nights here in Memphis. Billy Strings is playing Friday and Saturday, and they told me it's the best show currently playing across America. Of course they did. They just spent all night in the freezing cold outside FedEx Forum, but they described it as psychedelic bluegrass, and now I'm even more excited because I'm seeing Billy Strings tonight for the first time.
I thought you were going to be excited for the other part of that.
Psychedelic?
Yes.
No, I will be soberly seeing Billy Strings because I don't know if you know this, but I'm running a half marathon tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Not that I would do it anyway, but I have to treat my body like a temple tonight. I'm allowing myself 1 beer and 1 beer only.
Jacob, every time somebody else gets in the line, go outside, no matter what we're doing.
And ask where they're from? Oh,
we
cut
can't.
the camera.
Yeah, just cut the
Sorry.
camera outside.
I would love for someone to have a live
mic.
mic.
It would be nice to be able to say, hey, Luke, go outside and interview these people as they walk into the line.
Well, so they wait for the posters and then they wait for the pit. So they want the best spots in the pit. And then what they were saying is that after tonight's show ends, they will sprint back out and they will spend the night again because they need the other poster and they need to be in the pit tomorrow. So they will leave immediately. And what they were telling me was they actually went to the Grizzlies game last night. They're not from here. Love to hear this. Love when people from out of town decide to check out a Grizzlies game, especially when the Grizzlies win. However, they did not see the end of the game because they came, they got like $30 tickets for great seats, they said, lower bowl. They were amped about it. They had to leave after the third quarter because they wanted to sprint. And the one guy is in the front of the line. And so his actions paid off because he wanted to be the front of the line. And so he left after the third quarter so he could secure his spot. And they said security during the beginning of the Grizzlies game wouldn't let them stake out. So that's why they just went to the game, because if they were going to be down here, they wanted something to do. And then after the third, they went and got in line and stayed overnight. What a life.
Wow.
What a life. I was cold just walking out there for 5 seconds.
Yes, it's cold outside.
It's a little chilly, CJ.
It's cold outside. To have that damn type of dedication, I don't think that there is a music act in the world, past, present, or future, where I'd be willing to sleep outside in 20-degree weather to secure a poster and a spot in the pit for the show. No, there's not.
Yeah.
Beyonce?
But I wouldn't, at this point in my life.
Beyonce's doing Cowboy Carter.
I might.
You do it for that.
I might.
Okay.
I think I might have one more in me.
Okay.
Like when I was
You've
a
done
kid.
that before?
No.
Okay.
But I always wanted to. I wanted to go to a school like Memphis Madness when it used to pop up on ESPN. I wanted to do that. Like I wanted to be at a school where you slept overnight outside waiting to get into an event. And I guess that was more for games and such. Like Chris at Syracuse did that once, I think, if I remember the story correctly. At USC, no one gave that much care,
And
which is
there's not a
sad because
midnight
it's so
football
nice
thing?
there. You could just set up a nice sleeping bag outside under one of the palm trees and the bright stars of Los Angeles.
Do y'all even see the stars with all the light pollution?
It's a lot of smog.
Okay.
No, that's why I think I'm obsessed with stars now. I went like 4 years of my life without seeing them, and now outside at night, Chris is always like, "It's just the stars." I go, "Yes, but it's just the stars." Anyway, Billy Strings is tonight. I will be there. I believe Saturday is sold out, but I think there's still some tickets for tonight's performance, and I have heard he's incredible. So I will give a full review on Monday. I was obviously at the Grizzlies game last night, and I will say, in Memphis, we don't light the beam, but I think we should think about lighting the pyramid. I'm just saying, this is a discussion we can have. In the meantime, let's hit the highlights from last night. Grizzlies Kings. Marcus Smart with the reminder that some of y'all don't get the picture unless the flash is on. So flash. Grizzlies up at the end of the first quarter. They trail by as many as 12 in the second. This lineup of Smart, Bane, LaRavia, Aldama, Huff was the good place. That LaRavia 3 makes it a 5-point game. The best kind of a surprise isn't a party. It is a J-Huff reverse slam. It's so fun. Grizz within 2. Marcus Smart without the S or the M is art, and some of last night's passes belonged in the Louvre. Aldama gives it back to Smart. He steps right into a 3 in the face of Domantas Sabonis. He was 3 of 3 from 3 in the first half. Grizz led by 1 at the break, back down in the third, and views we love to see. Desmond Bane walking into a deep pull-up 3 with no hesitation. Bane, 18 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. It is another night in the association, and it's a reminder that the Grizzlies are deeper than the ocean. Scottie Pippen Jr., the audacity between the legs in transition, and the Kings can't even stop a 2-on-1 with a hug. Can't stop Santi. He's shooting 79% from the field over his last 4 games. All right. Then this happened. Ja Morant called for a foul on DeMar DeRozan. He's looking for the foul like, where are you at? Where are you at? But he was so mad that he pointed, so the ref said, there you go. There you go. His second tech, he's tossed from the game. Don't worry, after the game they said it wasn't a foul. But also don't worry, because as Marcus Smart said after the game, the Grizzlies chose to strive in chaos, and their bench leading the way with a big 60 points last night. There were 20 lead changes, 11 ties in this game. Grizzlies up 3 in the final seconds, and the Kings with a chance, but the Malik Monk 3 is an air ball. And the Memphis Grizzlies beat the Kings 115 to 110. And CJ, there are 2 different timelines that the Grizzlies could have traveled last night. The first is that they could have absolutely imploded after the Ja ejection, and we would have sat here this morning talking about one of the worst calls that we have ever seen. And we will still talk about it excessively because that was not a foul. And The pool report after the game also said that was not a foul, and that led to Ja's ejection, and we will get more into that. But the second timeline, the timeline that the Grizzlies chose last night, and it's certainly a timeline that inspires further confidence for this team, is that they won. Your star point guard gets ejected, and the fourth quarter of that game is messy, it's emotional, and yet differently than the Grizzlies in a tight game where fouls disrupted everything in Dallas earlier this week, the Grizzlies are able to maintain enough composure to ultimately get the win over the Kings. Desmond Bane was effective down the stretch. The defense locked in. Marcus Smart made a couple big free throws. And speaking of Marcus Smart, that game was a bright, shining light on the value of Marcus Smart. And yes, he had a tough night in Dallas, but I hope this is a reminder to everyone, you don't have to be a prisoner of the moment after every single game, and seeing the bigger picture of what Marcus Smart brings to this team. When Ja got ejected, emotions are running high. You saw everyone start chirping. Marcus gathered that whole team and gave them a little calming pep talk on the court, and then they went back and were able to continue on with that game. And the way he played last night, really within himself, a leader from the defensive side of things to the offensive side of things. Multiple times throughout that game, it was a bench unit that brought the Grizzlies back into a game after the Kings made a big run. And at the end, Taylor Jenkins still has the majority of the bench in that game because they were as hot as they were, with 60 points to the Kings, 15 bench points last night. But I am just, a win is a win is a win, but that game so easily could have devolved into a loss. It is really nice that the Grizzlies were able to get what Taylor Jenkins called a gutsy win.
And Marcus Smart is a gutsy player, and that's why you need him on this team, and why I would think that people would be appreciative to have him on this team. Not only was it 60 to 15 Grizzlies bench versus Kings bench, it's 60 to 55 Grizzlies bench versus Grizzlies starters, if my math is correct. Like that bench unit headed by Marcus Smart really went out there last night and played pretty damn well. And you said Marcus Smart had a bad game against Dallas.
A bad quarter, I should have said.
Bad like 5 minutes. Atrocious 5 minutes. Really, really bad. Terrible 5 minutes. It's the
bad enough that
that's
it
what we
marred
remember.
The rest of the game.
That's what we will remember. But even in that game, and in games since he's been back, you see it. He is the one in charge on the court. Not just when he's on the court with the second unit, but when he's sitting on the bench talking to guys on the bench. Marcus Smart is the one who is the person who can step in there, calm them down when they need to be calmed down, rev them up when they need to be revved up, get everybody lined up in the spot where they're supposed to be lined up. I talked about it a couple of games ago. Marcus Smart is running down the court. He's yelling at everybody. Hey, it's two here. It's one there. Pick up. Where you going? Hey, we got a cutter. He's the one doing all of that talking and all of the communicating. He's the best communicator on the team, and basketball is not a game you can play quietly. You have to have people on the court who are going to talk, and Marcus Smart is heading that campaign right now, and he's super valuable on this team from that standpoint, and then from the defensive standpoint as well. The best defender this Grizzlies team has is Marcus Smart. I understand everybody gets excited about Vince Williams Jr. He's a terrific defender also. But Marcus Smart is the best defender that they have. And seeing him go out there night in, night out, play defense at a really high level, that's something that I don't really understand why some Grizz fans I can't stand that guy. It's like, that's a guy you guys usually love. Y'all usually rock with that guy. But, fans are what fans are, so they're not real reasonable. When you have a game like you did to end it in Dallas, fans are going to jump all over that.
Yeah, and Marcus has the mileage, right? Like, the excitement of what Vince Williams Jr. can be or could be long-term for this team is big, but we've seen it from Marcus. And not just in the regular season, in the postseason, and that's what this is all about ultimately. But outside of Marcus Smart, Santi Aldama, the consistency is becoming a reality. 4 straight games in double-figure scoring, shooting 79% from the field. He is near automatic inside right now. He's been really, really good from the three-point line too. That is such a hinger And it's the whole bench unit. And even Jay Huff had a great game last night. Jake LaRavia had some really timely moments where when you look at the box score, Jake LaRavia, you're like, oh yeah, sure, 12 points, but 8 rebounds, 2 assists. When the rebounding was such a problem against the Kings for a large portion of that game, especially the offensive boards. The Grizzlies would get stops, and then Sabonis would get an offensive rebound and give him another opportunity, and they'd get an easy bucket off of that. But just that whole group coming together on a night where Desmond Bane was the only starter with a positive plus-minus. And plus-minus doesn't always tell the story of a game, but last night it did.
And listen, it doesn't always tell the story of a game. It's an interesting indicator. I don't know if you have it pulled up in front of you, Jessica, the box score, but these plus-minuses are I don't think I've ever seen a box score plus-minus like this, where it is every single starter, negative 20, negative 27, negative 30, every single bench player, plus 28, plus 22, plus 27, right? Like that speaks volumes to what this bench unit did last night. And you can get that. And I feel like the biggest difference in last night's game, because last night the fourth quarter got close. The fourth quarter was hotly contested. The difference in last night's fourth quarter and the fourth quarter in Dallas, the biggest one to me was, hey, one is on the road, one is at home. They both all of a sudden immediately ramped up to playoff type atmospheres, right? Dallas in the last 5.5 minutes, I don't know what the hell the fans were doing the first 3 quarters of the game, the first 3.5 quarters of the game. They're like, it's a regular season game, and then boom, 5.5 minutes go. It's playoff time now, and they ratcheted up that energy inside that arena. After Ja gets ejected in the fourth, that energy is ratcheted up in FedEx Forum. That is a playoff type atmosphere.
We even got a ref shoe suck.
They did a much better job of handling the intensity at home than they did on the road. 1, 2, they didn't just foul consistently, constantly, every single time up and down the court.
And they didn't. What was starting to happen before Ja got ejected is they were calling 4 fouls. Like, I felt as if sometimes the team gets so in the head of not getting the fouls called on them that they spend more time arguing with the refs than getting back on defense, than setting up their offense. And after that ejection, that shifted. And it could have kind of tumbled and spiraled in one direction. But I'll put more of that on the leadership of Marcus Smart and of the whole group. When you talk about those plus minuses, the team best last night was Jay Huff, a plus 30. And how he impacts things on the defensive end with his size, how he comes in and microwaves up threes and reverse dunk packages over and over for this group is really impressive. He's plus 30, Jake LaRavia plus 25, Santi Aldama plus 23, Marcus Smart plus 13, Scottie Pippen Jr. plus 10. Then you go to the starters, Desmond Bane plus 15.
Okay.
John Morant minus 32. Jalen Wells, minus 27. Jaren Jackson Jr., minus 17. Brandon Clark, minus 15.
That's
absurd.
I've like I said, I've never seen a box score that jarring as it pertains to the starters plus minus versus the bench plus minus. Like, and if you were to read those plus minuses off, I would be thinking, if I knew nothing about the Grizzlies roster at all, I'd be thinking, ooh, the Grizzlies got to get more depth on the bench. These guys are terrible. And no. Those are the starters plus minuses. So, hey, hats off to the bench. Role players play better at home.
Correct.
That Grizzlies now need to, because they can win close games. They can win tightly contested games. They have John Morant, and I've been clamoring for another closer, and it looks like that other closer should be Jaren. Jaren is top 20 in the NBA in fourth quarter scoring. Brevin was begging for it. I was also begging for it. Hey, stop. Don't swing. Don't pass the ball to anybody but Jaren. Jaren, trot your ass down, get on the right block, give Jaren the ball, and everybody just kind of like get the hell out the way the best you can and let Jaren go to work. I feel like as we get later into the season, we'll get more of that in the fourth quarter where it is Jaren's got the mismatch because he will always have a mismatch. I'm thinking right now, 28 teams he'll have a mismatch. I'm not sure if he'll have a mismatch with the Lakers and Anthony Davis or the Heat and Bam. But I think everybody else, is as great as some of these bigs are in the NBA, he'll either go by them or go through them, right? Like, that's how good Jaren is. And when you need a bucket.
You saw them in spurts against Sabonis last night.
Just
they
give
went to him
rock.
early with that, because I was going back and cutting the highlights and rewatching some of the fourth, so then I hear Brevin Knight's calls. Obviously, I hear Eric Hasseltine, who was echoing the same thing on the radio last night. And then they went 6 or 7 straight possessions where Jaren Jackson Jr. doesn't touch the basketball.
A couple of them, Jaren doesn't get down the court in time. He's trotting back. He's got the sprint back. And some of them, to your point, like they're just not. They're swing, attack the rim, swing, shoot. It's like, no, don't do any of that. At least let Jaren get a touch in, especially with no Ja on the court.
Yeah. It was good to see Desmond Bane seem to kind of come into his play a little more last night. There were a few instances, one specifically I can think of, where he passed up an open three and passed it to Scottie Pippen Jr. And I don't care what kind of slump Desmond Bane is going through. I want Desmond Bane to take that three. And then later in the game, you saw him take the threes. He had the nice little midi in the later moments of the fourth quarter. And if he can be another closer for you in a world where you can have three, options are big. And for last night, you never know how a game script is going to go. You could lose your point guard who gets tossed for 2 technicals in the fourth quarter, and you need another option. And if Desmond Bane can once again kind of reaffirm his place within that, it's nothing but a positive thing for the team.
His decision-making in this shooting slump has been good.
Yes.
He has also, when you're in a slump, sometimes you can just hunt for the shot, hunt for the three, and he didn't do that. He hasn't been doing that. He's found ways to attack the rim still, and he's found ways, like last night, to be effective in the mid-range, especially late in that game when we think about that fourth quarter pull-up that he made. Is Bane a role player? I ask in a whisper because
that was a whisper.
we talk about him like he's a part of the big three.
When he's at his best, he is the big three.
Every big three has a guy who, when you look at him, is like, oh, he's whatever this role is, he's filling this
What's
particular
also,
role.
when you have a big three, he's third.
He's third.
You know?
Yeah.
So-
Bosh is third.
Right.
I guess Ray Allen was third up in Boston. Clay was.
I was going to say
Clay
Clay was
was
third.
third.
And in a similar fashion of what Desmond Bane is when he is at his best. It's an interesting conversation. And listen, when it comes to who's on the court last night at the end of the game, because I know within the fan base, it's been such a constant conversation of minutes and stars playing the most minutes and how many minutes is the right amount of minutes and playing through the fourth quarter. Well, last night you have a situation where 1, Ja gets ejected, and 2, your bench is out playing your starters, and so Taylor Jenkins rightfully rests on that bench in the clutch moments, and that pays off because the Grizzlies get the win over the Kings. We have to take a break because Lang Whitaker is going to join us on the other side. We'll talk about the foul from Ja Morant, obviously the NBA's pool report that came out real quick. They got that report out really fast to say, hey, you know what? Ja Morant didn't foul DeMar DeRozan on that play. Unfortunately, he was still ejected from the game. It doesn't change the outcome. I think it is so indicative of maybe the biggest problem the NBA faces right now. We'll get into that with Lang on the other side.
ESPN put out a list. Top 30 best pro wrestlers under 30 in the world today. Number 1, Dirty Dom. Number 2, MJF.
I think Dom is deserving to be number 1. I think he is probably, like I said, one of the greatest heels in the last 10, 15 years. Like you said, he can't talk on the microphone.
The fans love it because they feel like they're a part of the show.
And that's the best.
Without their booze, he's not the best heel.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel. Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item, whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
This team is doing everything that Taylor Jenkins and his coaching staff envisioned it could do.
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
How about them Tigers? Go.
Beat Tulane in a game that nobody called. Nobody thought was going to happen. They were a 2-touchdown underdog, and they got the win.
Number 25 in the AP right now, number 24 in the coaches poll right now. So this is a Tigers football team that's going to end the regular season ranked in both major polls, possibly ranked in the CFP as well, with 10 wins. That's a damn good season.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Yellow lace is really bright yellow primary color. You got black on the trim and on the edges. And you got some red there as well. Look at that right there, Mike. Look at that right there.
Man, look at that G. Look at that G, boy. That G is moving strong right there, too, man.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Welcome back. It is Friday. That means it's time to catch up with Lang Whitaker. Lang, did you enjoy the John Butler show last night?
He was great. One of his most memorable performances, perhaps his most memorable performance. Coming off the back of the big Sean Corbin, Ben Taylor performance in Dallas. The refs are really having a good week this week.
They are. They have definitely made themselves. We do the main character every night on the warm-up show for home games on Grind City Media, and I join you and I give you
great subsidiary
the main character. And nobody would ever want the main character to be the refs. And I said in the opening segment, like, there were 2 timelines that could have happened last night where we're sitting here, the Grizzlies, Ja gets ejected, everything goes to hell.
Yeah.
We're sitting here exclusively talking about how that call changed the game and giving the refs a lot of attention. But to the Grizzlies' credit, they got the win.
Well, the other timeline here is that, and let's be honest, Ja wasn't having a very good game.
No.
He was like minus 30 or something. Like he was I think 0 for 6 on threes.
It was really weird because he came out with, it felt like a little added oomph. And he always has.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying he doesn't always come out with oomph, but it did feel like he was trying to prove a point against De'Aaron Fox. He picked him up. He was the primary defender.
He almost stole the first pass of the game. Yeah.
Yes, in the backcourt. Picking him up full court, going at him early. He had 2 finishes in the lane early. He had that really nice pass to Jalen Wells, a really nice pass to Desmond Bane early in the second quarter. But you're right. There was something.
He was driving a lot
him.
and not getting foul calls.
He was frustrated about that.
He was frustrated about that. I don't know. People were texting me, like someone said, maybe just sick. Because it's like Luke Kennard's sick. Like, who knows? I don't know. Ja just didn't have it last night the way we've seen him have it in the past. Yeah. To a degree, like none of the starters really were playing great last night. It wasn't until they put in that whole bench unit in the second quarter that the thing kind of turned around and the Grizzlies made that run. So the second half starts, the starters are back in there, not great again. And I'm thinking, well, how is Taylor going to figure out a way to close this game with the lineup that's working? Like, do you just not put the starters in down the stretch? And then Ja got thrown out. And I'm like, well, that solves that issue. That conundrum is easier to figure out now. So There was that whole thing too. Like, but for DeMar DeRozan to shoot, I believe 14 free throws last night, 15 free throws.
14.
Yeah. He was 13 for 14 from the free throw line. Like, he was getting every single call. Actually, I talked to Jalen Wells yesterday morning for the Grind City Media newsletter, and we were asking him about being this defensive stopper that he's become. And he said the hardest thing is being physical without drawing fouls. And he said the other thing you realize when you get to the NBA is you play perfect defense. The one split second your arm moves down just a little bit, the defenders bang draw the foul. And like, so these guys are great at drawing fouls. DeRozan's amazing at drawing fouls.
But let's be clear. The play that led to Ja's ejection
wasn't a foul.
Wasn't a foul.
The referees
Hands
actually
straight
said
up.
it wasn't a foul
Yeah,
after the game.
and quickly. Sometimes those take some time to come out, and the fact that I saw it before I closed my little eyes to go to bed made me realize.
Yeah.
Like they knew.
To Michael
getting
Cole,
out quickly.
pool reporter.
Yes.
I would love to be the pool reporter just once to follow up. Because you're not allowed to follow up. Like, you have to ask, like, just specific. And the question was, like, what led to the foul being called on John Morant? And the referee said, well, we thought it was a foul, and then we looked at it, and it wasn't a foul. And I would love to just be like, well, why'd you call it a foul?
So the full exchange was because it had to start with the first technical because coming after the non-foul on DeRozan was the second technical, which is why he got ejected. But the first question is, going back to John Morant's first technical around the 8-minute mark of the fourth quarter, why was he assessed the technical foul? At 8:07 on the out-of-bounds play on the baseline, Morant points and uses profanity towards an official.
Wow. No one's ever used profanity toward an official before?
You can't point. Once you point and do that every single time, you get
He wanted to make sure the official knew that's who he was talking to.
If that's what you want to do, you got to be fine with the tech that you get.
I think he was. I think he was okay with that tech.
You can do it with no text, right? You can't do it if you already got a tech. It's the point and the cursing that did it.
Once you're in the fourth quarter, though, like you got to step it up, man. Like if you're gonna complain and it's not working at that point, you got to like keep upping the stakes.
And those points were pointed. I will give Ja credit. There was no question. He was pointing with effectiveness, too effective. My issue with this, and even coming off of the game against the Mavs, which, sure, when you go back and look at the fouls that led to 26 free throws from the Mavs, like, were the Grizzlies fouling in the fourth quarter of the game?
A little bit.
Yes.
Not 280% more than the Dallas was fouling.
And not historically. Like, that was the most shots taken by a team in the fourth quarter.
I mean,
and in terms of the foul differential, it was like the worst since some Clippers, was it 2000?
And that was and Vernon talked about this on Gary's show. That was a hack at DeAndre Jordan game. It was like the inflated stats. They were just calling fouls on the Grizzlies. I don't know why.
My point of it is, take out the were they fouling, weren't they fouling? Nobody signs up to watch that many free throws.
No.
And in terms of all of the conversations this season and always, evergreen conversations, why is the NBA not growing? Why aren't more people interested in the product? You don't want to watch that.
Yeah,
like,
but here's the other thing. Let's be fair.
Okay.
We've never watched that before. Like you just said, that was a historic thing.
Right.
It's not like that all the time.
But it's getting more
We've
and
had
more
two
to
of those
the point
games back
in
to
a
back.
row.
Yeah.
And the
But
game
it's not like that
stoppage
all the
and the
time.
reviews, and there were 4 challenges last night, which to the
By the way-
non-credit of the refs, the coach is going 4-4 on their challenges.
Well, shout out Mike Brown. He had a strategy last night with those challenges. He was challenging makeup calls. I don't know if you noticed, like they were trying to give the Grizzlies some makeup calls because they were calling so many bad fouls against the Kings. And twice they gave the Grizzlies calls, and Mike Brown challenged both of them and got them both right because they were right. Taylor Jenkins just challenged missed calls, which he got those right too. But yeah, 4 for 4 by these coaches last night, correcting the refs.
It takes all of the energy out of a game. And as somebody who often has people in my life who stumble their way into watching NBA games, I have a lot of friends and family who are not by nature fans of the NBA, who have become fans of the Grizzlies through my job and supporting me. But when they watch games like that, they're like, this stinks. Like, this is boring. It goes from, why does the energy of this place go from 100 to 0, and why does this happen consistently? And it's not just a Grizzlies problem, although we've seen it in, big ways, and Ja being one of the stars of the league. What's funny is so many superstars, like a part of this is them getting a lot of calls because of who they are. And it's the opposite for Ja. And I'm not just saying that because I'm sitting outside FedEx Forum.
No, it's true.
You see it all across your timeline. Why is Ja not getting these calls? I know when he came out saying he wasn't going to dunk again this season, some people took the narrative of, oh, well, it's because he's not getting calls. So why would he sacrifice his body if he's not getting the calls? Honestly, it's a good thing to protect your body.
The
so I
NBA
blend
seems
that
to
all
love,
together.
they're like, oh, we got 60 million views on Jaws 360.
Right, so why isn't he getting the stars
protect
of
him.
somebody who's
the
getting
Lakers
60 million
injured
views?
him, knocked him out of the air trying to dunk a ball.
And then he missed
They didn't even
8
call a foul.
games.
There was no foul called. You saw in Dallas, like the Grizzlies getting screwed by the refs. Last night, Ja went to the basket time and time again and wasn't getting calls. Like somebody texted me, a friend of mine texted me after that Dallas game, a Grizzlies fan, and they were like, look, Dallas shot a lot more free throws than us. That is whatever it is. Why don't we get calls like Dallas? Why don't we get superstar calls? We have superstars.
Mm-hmm.
We have Jaren. We have Ja. Bane's star. Like, why don't we get calls? And I don't know. I don't know why we don't get calls.
I don't either. And
it sucks.
I don't like complaining about that kind of stuff. Like, it sucks to complain about it, too, because you sound like a whiny little baby.
Yeah.
But when you're watching the agitation, I don't know what was going on with Ja last night.
But why is DeMar DeRozan getting all those calls? Exactly. Like, mid-range jump shots. Like, that was the crazy. Like, he wasn't even going to the basket. We shot half our shots in the paint. People are like, well, the Grizzlies don't get calls because they don't go to the basket. We're the number 1 points in the paint team in the league. We're going to the basket over and over again. Like, that's where you get calls, allegedly. Not, I guess, if you're DeRozan, you get them, like, flopping around in the 18-foot line or whatever. Yeah. Like, it's...
And you've seen Ja get increasingly agitated by that. And so
I'd say rightfully so.
It makes sense why he would spew profanity and point. But nobody came to the game last night to watch Ja get ejected.
We all
from
came
the
to
game
see
for
John
pointing
Butler, ref.
And,
he was awesome.
And saying some swear words.
The other thing, like, that takes the air out of a game, like you mentioned, that the delays when you have to do the replays. College football, when there's an injury, they stop the game for like 6 minutes every single time. And it sucks when it's Ole Miss and they're faking injuries the whole game because they're great at that. The SEC finally put a stop to that, like 2 weeks left in the season. But whenever there's an injury in college football, like that's the longest break that's possible. Like, especially when you're at a game. On TV, at least you can flip the channel, watch commercial, whatever. So when you're at the games, it is like interminable.
Yes. That takes the cake of the stoppage that feels the longest.
Oh my gosh.
It's an injury.
Watch this weekend.
But we even had a stoppage, and it wasn't the fault of the players or the refs in that case, but like we even had a clock malfunction last night that led. So it's these little breaks that make the game. If I'm down waiting to do the walk-off interview and it's 9:45, something's gone terribly wrong. And no one wants games to roll that long unless they're going. God, when the Kings had a chance to tie it at the end, I was like, the last thing we need is overtime.
One of the camera guys was sitting
scenario.
next to me on the court waiting. We were all waiting to walk out there, and he goes, "We're going to get overtime." And I was like, "Don't say that. Do not say we're going to overtime. We're not going to overtime." I also thought that there was that game where there was ice on the court. Remember that one? That was like 2 weeks ago. There's been a lot of weird things that
was weird.
extended games.
Someone just came and threw ice onto the court and then ran away.
Yeah.
Wubbs in the chat wanting to make sure that you and I are aware that the Grizzlies are second in free throw attempts in the NBA. And what I will say with that is, sure, the Grizzlies get free throws and get to the line because they are going to the basket so much.
Yeah.
It's who those calls are coming on. Like, right now, this conversation for me is centered around Ja and a night last night that ultimately leads to him getting ejected from the game and the growing frustration. So we'll see. I am excited. Marcus Smart had a great game last night.
Yeah.
He left the game with an ankle injury, and I was like, oh no, not ahead of the Celtics game and all the makeup of him playing in Boston against the Celtics on Saturday. He comes back in, and I thought he was really a testament to the leadership and who Marcus Smart is, and the bonus of having him come off the bench right now gives the Grizzlies such an effective leader when things aren't going well for
He's
the
awesome
starters.
off the bench. Like I was talking about it with John Roser the other night during the game. You know, like those guys who kind of made their name as bench players are all retired now. Lou Williams, Jamal Crawford. Like, there's not like a perennial sixth man of the year guy in the NBA anymore. And like maybe this is Marcus's next 6 years or however long he plays. He's 30. Like, he's not that old. He's a sixth man now. Like he can come into the game. You know, there used to be those guys like to show you how old we can talk about, like guys who would come in the game and just get buckets, right? Like Vinnie Johnson on the Pistons, the microwave. He would come in and just heat up right away. All these guys who would come off the bench and score for your team. Like Marcus can come in and like play defense, run your offense. Like he was the point guard last night in the closing lineup the Grizzlies had out there. Like he can do lots of different things, and he's so impactful when he's on the court that I think like maybe this is the next Marcus Smart iteration. Like he's sixth man of the year candidate. And he seems to have like embraced this role and enjoys it.
I know.
He also
you always wonder.
He did the first walk-off shirtless with you last night after the game, too.
Somebody said it's because he wanted to show how in shape he was.
I almost did the Grind City Rewind shirtless.
Thank you for not.
Yeah.
I have to deal with CJ. All I do is work with men who take off their shirts, okay?
Why every time somebody
That's
takes
all
off
I
a
do.
shirt does my name get mentioned?
Because that's the plight that
You
I
are
signed up
you're sort
for.
of known for it.
You are. It is your signature move. Marcus Smart stole CJ's signature move last night. I was like, been there, done that.
We should
Have
replace the
postcard.
Jessica Benson show sign with just you and Marcus Smart doing the walk-off interview.
Well, CJ tried to replace the Jessica Benson show logo with.
Lang was there when it was
I was,
shot.
I know.
It was
I
good
was at the
stuff.
photo shoot.
What a beautiful, beautiful time. Hey, we did get an injury update last night that feels a little significant in that Zach Edey will miss a couple more weeks.
Yeah.
They weren't happy with how he was progressing. He practiced with the Memphis Hustle, and so they are going to monitor him over the next couple of weeks, which is a bummer because the language had led us to think, oh, he could come back this weekend on the road trip. Maybe
Taylor
not
led
against
us
the
to think
Celtics.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
But now it's an extended period of time, which just for a rookie, every long
Yeah.
stretch that you're away from playing real NBA basketball, it does affect your ability to develop.
I mean, shout out Jay Huff. Like, 'cause Jay Huff's been a savior for this team.
You know, it's so funny because coming off of the warm-up last night, I was talking with Mike Wallace,
Yep.
and coming from the game against the Mavs and the Grizzlies, depth and role players play better at home, which
Yeah.
was a wonderful reminder last night. But I found myself saying, you know, I want Jay Huff to be real gold, not
Yeah.
fool's gold. And it was almost like he heard me because then he went out there last night and showed exactly what he can be. And because of that, and Brandon Clark returning to,
Yeah.
and I know he didn't have his best game last night, but we had no idea what Brandon Clark would be coming off of his Achilles.
It's hard
injury.
playing against Sabonis, too. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a tough test for anybody.
Yes.
And the Kings only play 8 players. Like, I mean, Sabonis was on the court pretty much the entire game last night.
They don't have.
Yeah,
They are the opposite of the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
Depth is a significant issue. They're now 10-13.
Yeah.
And they feel better than a 10-13 team. I tapped into one of their post-game shows last night and the frustrations they've had with, I guess, the kind of consistency of missing threes late in a game and depth being something that dooms them through and through. But their starters were great. They just don't have
anybody
anything
else. I was talking to Mark Jones last night, who's there, the Kings play-by-play guy, and he was saying, yeah, like it's just a matter of getting guys back. And Mike Brown like doesn't really know what he's working with on any given night because there have been so many injuries and things, and they're trying to kind of figure out that rotation. But I had looked because the game before us, they only played 8 guys, and I was thinking, man, that's such a like Taylor Jenkins is playing 11 guys, you know, some games. They played us last night. They play again tonight at San Antonio. They have a back-to-back at San Antonio tonight. So they're going to have to run all those guys out there again for 35 minutes apiece. Yeah, it kind of makes you appreciate the depth of the Grizzlies and the contributions of a guy like Jay Huff when Zach Edey's out.
And you have another back-to-back coming up Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Celtics Saturday, Wizards Sunday. Selfishly, very glad that the Boston game is first.
Yeah, I am too. And I'm glad the Wizards are part of that back-to-back. Either way, I'll
One
take
of
it.
the Trailblazers, the Pelicans, although the Pelicans won last night. They got their 5th win of the season. And the Wizards are
Gifts.
good teams
Yes.
to play. Before I let you go, I did have one really important question that I wanted to ask you. If I died, would you come to my funeral?
When would it be?
I don't know. This is what Adrian Wojnarowski is trying to tell people. Did you see the profile on Woj yesterday?
I did. That was great.
The viral, or one of the things that gets pulled from it is, one, he has prostate cancer, and wishing him a healthy journey. He himself said the prognosis is good. Really just wanted to make sure people were aware that you should be getting tested and the importance of screening. But he shared a story in terms of everyone, when he stepped away from ESPN, I mean, that was the biggest surprise media news of the year. And he talked about how he went to his coworker, Chris Mortensen, the longtime NFL reporter, his funeral, and the lack of colleagues who showed up was one of the things that made him realize none of this matters. Like the work part of this doesn't matter. It's all vapor. and in terms of who broke what first. It's all vapor. And so it got me thinking, which of my coworkers would show up at my funeral?
Would it be in like Colorado or Washington? Would
So
you have
you
it
wouldn't
here?
travel? Is
No.
the
I didn't get
rule?
invited to your wedding.
It's true. You don't have to travel because you didn't get the wedding invite. It was early.
So if I
Does it
if I
make you
don't
feel
get
better?
invited to
Does
the
it make
wedding,
you feel better that if I got married today, you would get invited to the wedding?
No, not really.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like if I don't get invited to the wedding, I shouldn't be invited to the funeral.
No one gets invited to a funeral.
You just show up.
You
We
just
not do
choose to
funeral
come to a
invitations.
funeral.
What if
No
that's what
one's
we
sending
did?
out funeral
What if we just
invites?
like sent like pictures on social media and posted pictures of the deceased, like we do for wedding invites? Just like, oh, here's the deceased right here laying down in front of this
If your
spot.
funeral was
good
during
picture.
a Georgia football game, I would not
You
go.
wouldn't. That's the line.
No.
So it has to be in Memphis and not during a Georgia
Or I'd say
football
within
game.
a 30-minute radius of
Okay.
the Memphis area.
Okay. That's good. Thank you. That's good enough.
Depends. Yeah.
If you show up in the Memphis radius, I'm not sure CJ would show up. So, yeah, CJ doesn't do funerals.
Yeah, so I'd be. But if it's like during the SEC championship game, no, I would not be at your funeral.
That's
Thoughts and prayers.
Your final thoughts on the SEC championship game? You have your Georgia visor on.
This is my Kirby Smart visor.
Okay.
I wore it today just for Kirby.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, Georgia's going to win. We're going to beat Texas. I saw yesterday that when SEC teams have played twice during the same season, the second time, the team that won the first game is 4-2, and they've won by an average of like 15 points.
Georgia is 2 of those.
Yes.
Under Kirby, 2-0.
And so I'm hopeful that trend continues here. And also, they banned Bevo from going to the game. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah.
Because they don't want him to get in a fight with.
I don't know.
A dog?
I think maybe because the stadium's like an outdoor stadium.
Maybe.
I was thinking, I don't know. Maybe they have rules. No livestock on the field. I don't know. I'm gonna have a steak tomorrow to celebrate though.
I'm gonna run 13 miles and
I
not
heard.
die, so you don't come to my funeral.
I'm gonna go to one of those viewing parties and I'll hand you a beer when you run by.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I don't think I could be the person who drinks and runs.
I
It's
think
too
you
hard.
could. You're churning through so many calories. Like
Yeah,
it probably
but
just goes right through your system.
I'm not a real runner. I'm a fake. I'm a poser.
Fine.
When I'm out there tomorrow, it is not because I'm having a good time.
CJ, I urged her to, if necessary, to walk. No. And she was like, no. She was furious.
If I walk, I have failed.
She wants you to have to come in here on Monday, so be ready. You might have to fill in again.
Don't say that.
Big
the
surprise.
last time we talked about an athletic.
Because her legs hurt.
Because her
What?
body's going to be broken, Lang.
Don't put that on my other Achilles. Come on.
That one Achilles is going to be carrying a lot
It really is. It really
a lot
is.
of the load there.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We're doing
She
our
got so nervous.
RAGGOW! Our games of the
Go
weekend
down! Sick 'em!
in football and the NFL. That was beautiful.
How about them dogs?
We'll get into
Hey, is
that.
anybody else outside?
Outside checker. Only
That
the
line
real
has gotten a
ones.
little longer.
Only the real ones. It's still like 20
Must be a very
degrees
small
out.
pit of people.
It's 23 degrees outside.
Yeah.
Where do they go to the bathroom? Did you ask them that?
No, I didn't. I bet someone on Beale Street lets them in. There's got to be a porta potty somewhere on Beale. No porta potties.
It's the corner.
It's the corner. It is almost all men out there, I will say. The second I started walking and I saw like 3 very long beards, because we thought it was for Billy Strings, but we weren't 100% sure
Which
it was for
guy is Billy Strings?
He's not out there.
Oh.
Out there. All right, RAGGOW when we come back.
Can't wait. It's time to get it popping. It's gonna be crazy. The fans are gonna be loud. We need just energy.
We're gonna need, the Forum rocking. We're gonna need, everybody in Memphis to be out there to come to support.
When the fans are good, we're good. Simple as that.
A Bane 3, yes sir! Desmond Bane with ice water in his veins.
We'll ride the energy together.
Anticipate each challenge. Make a quick response. Capitalize on every opportunity. And win. Greatness won't wait. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st. And you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzly stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
This team is doing everything that Taylor Jenkins and his coaching staff envisioned it could do.
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
D'Anthony Melton took my little guys, to the ice cream stand. He was like, I'm going to get ice cream. You want to go with? So he took my little guys to the ice cream stand. So, guess who their favorite player is now? John Morant. But outside of that, D'Anthony Melton's pretty high up on the list. How about this? We got youth small D'Anthony Melton jerseys at our house right now. Love D'Anthony Melton. That was a fun night.
It was a fun night, man.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Who will lead the Grizz in steals this season?
I'm going to go with Pippen for steals this season.
So I'm going to go with Jaren.
I'm going to go, as long as he's in the rotation, I'm going to go Jake LaRavia for total steals, and I'll have Marcus Smart in my back pocket for steals per game.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizz, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
ESPN put out a list. Top 30 best pro wrestlers under 30 in the world today. Number 1, Dirty Dom. Number 2, MJF.
I think Dom is deserving to be number 1. I think he is probably, like I said, one of the greatest heels in the last 10, 15 years. Like you said, he can't talk on the microphone.
The fans love it because they feel like they're a part of the show.
And that's the best.
Without their booze, he's not the best heel.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back. Before we get to our RAGGOWs, there was a Thursday night football game last night. The Lions have won 11 straight. Best start in franchise history. CJ, how did you feel when Dan Campbell went for it on 4th and 1 to get in better field goal position?
If they win the Super Bowl, that's my coach.
Did you watch his halftime speech?
No.
I would run through a brick wall for Dan Campbell.
I can't do a whole lot of the Ray-Rah. But, that's what he's... Hey, he got a head coaching opportunity and probably shouldn't have gotten one. And he's like, yo, I'm playing with house money. This is what it is. This is what I'm going to do. There was no doubt in my mind that the Lions were going to go for it on that 4th down because that's what he's done consistently, no matter what, throughout the course of his coaching tenure. Some coaches will play around with it. And then when the fire gets real hot, they're like, nah, we're not going to do that anymore. They chicken out. Dan Campbell's like, nah, this is what I am. This is what I'm going to do. I have supreme belief in the guys who I have empowered to be coaches, coordinators, position coaches on the team. And I have full belief and faith in the men on the football field to go out there when we need a 4th down conversion, to go out there and get the 4th down conversion. And the Lions did it. And to their credit, to his credit, I, as a big-time Dan Campbell doubter and a big-time Lions hater, this is the best Lions team of my life. Mm-hmm. And I was talking with Darnell about this. My frustration with the Lions is, I think, because I'm so close to being a professional football fan, like of a team, and that's the team who I would do it for. But they've been so bad the entirety of their existence that I can't cheer for those types of losers. They get to a Super Bowl, they got me now. I can do that. Think about the generational talent the Lions have had and wasted, from Barry Sanders to Megatron. Think about the fact that this is the first time in franchise history that they've gone back-to-back seasons winning 10 games. 11-win seasons don't come often in Detroit. Hell, I'm going to have to go to Wikipedia and find the last 11-win season. That's in best Lions team of my life. Probably the best, not probably, definitely the best Lions team all time. And I just need them to win the Super Bowl so I can get up to Detroit, party with all my new Lions. But if they don't win the Super Bowl, I'm not going to be a Lions fan. I'll just
Super Bowl or bust.
Super
Let
Bowl.
it be clear.
And this is their last chance to hook me. I've gone 37 years. I've gone 30 years without being a fan of an NFL franchise. I'm fine not being a fan of a franchise and just consuming the sport the way that I've been consuming the sport. But oh boy, they won the Super Bowl. I'll be a Lion. I have the jersey. I'll grab hats and T-shirts and socks. Let's get it going, Lions.
Shout out to my Achilles warrior, Tim Patrick. Nobody had a Tim Patrick touchdown, let alone 2 last night. No, that Lions team is very good, and I like that they go.
Last night.
Yes, I like that they go for it on 4th and 1. If it goes awry, Dan Campbell's gonna get crushed this morning. It doesn't, but he knows that. And think about the confidence building that gives for that team if they find themselves in a situation where they have to go for it on 4th down. Let's be honest, Dan Campbell's always going to choose to go for it on 4th down. But it was fun. I had that one up on my laptop. The other piece of football news that came out yesterday that I did want to quickly note on, Bill Belichick interviewed for the North Carolina job. North Carolina, who fired Mac Brown, has interviewed 72-year-old Bill Belichick. He just wants to coach again. He wants to coach. And his poor girlfriend thinks that she signed up for retired Bill Belichick life, for media Bill Belichick life, but he's going to find somewhere to coach. And if it is UNC, that would be absolutely spectacular for the sport of college football, just to have Bill Belichick back in the equation. So that would be very funny. Let's get into our RAGGOWs for this weekend. It is conference championship weekend in college football. Yes, CJ.
The last 11-win season for Detroit was last year. They won 12 games.
Oh, that's what you were looking for.
They've had 10, going back to 1935. They've had 10 seasons where they won double-digit games, 10 or more. They've been around for a while, and they've been bad. The worst franchise in all of sports my entire life. And that says something when the Clippers are also running around here under Donald Sterling. All right.
Curtis Moore in the chat, first of all, says, those my heads out there. For the Billy Strings fans.
Yeah.
I love that. Billy is the
more,
best guitarist
more people are walking
in
up.
the world.
Get out of here. So, like, did you see any sort of entertainment?
No, they're just
no
chilling,
TVs.
man. I did smell some entertainment, but they're just chilling.
Turn up. That doesn't seem like a good thing you should do in the cold. I feel like that would make you colder.
I don't know. It might warm you up.
No music being played? Like they're not
No,
listening
it's
to
dead
Billy?
silent out there.
Okay.
They're preparing themselves.
Okay.
You don't want to have
You don't want to peak
music
too
before,
soon?
right?
I got you.
Before you hear the music.
All right. I didn't know if Billy,
bluegrass.
I didn't know if because psychedelic bluegrass.
That feels like a Spotify Wrapped category.
We're going to talk about that shit. I feel like the king of psychedelic bluegrass would have like a best of compilation for the fans to listen to in line. Like we should be playing something outside on the speakers. Do we have speakers on the outside? I don't think we even have speakers on the outside. They should get speakers, put them on the outside, and play some Billy Strings for the people waiting.
That'd be fun. Sometimes you hear the trickle of music coming off of Beale Street. But I will say, one of my favorite parts of my week is when I go mentor at Soulsville Academy, which is next to Stax. And that parking lot plays Stax records all the time. And there is something so just joy-inducing of opening your car door and feeling like you're in a movie because some song is playing as you're like bopping your way into Go Mentor, or on the flip side, coming back to your car to go home at the end of the day. So we should have more places that play that kind of music in plazas, parking lots, wherever it may be. All right, games of the weekend in college football. I am most excited for former Pac-12 member Oregon to attempt to do something that only one other Big Ten team has ever done before, and that is beat Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State in the same season. The only team that's done that, Michigan State, they've done it 5 times, and Oregon in year 1 has the opportunity to do this. I'm really curious about this game because if you ask me which team I feel the most confident about in college football, it is the Oregon Ducks. It is Dan Lanning as a coach in a similar vein of Kirby Smart style coaching in this period of college football, and the way that he motivates his team, I think, is important as they go into this stretch of the conference championship game of, if they win, definitely shoring up the bye for the first portion of the college football playoff. But this Penn State team intrigues me. Drew Aller intrigues me. He is better than I ever thought he would be, and he doesn't have super obvious weapons, but he has made each of those receivers, he has made his tight end, Tyler Warren, work for him. And so I will be curious to see if he and this Penn State team can score on Oregon and make this a game. I'm not sure how this one goes.
He is also better than I thought he would be, and that still might not be good enough, right?
Exactly.
Like that's the issue with the Aller situation. I will say with Oregon, we have made much bigger noise and proclamations about far less from this football program than we are with this team right now. And this team is the only undefeated team in the nation, and they are really, really good. The knock that we've had on Oregon, I think everybody to a man/woman, is, hey, they're really, really good, but when they play more physical teams, they, especially in those one-off situations, they just don't have the physicality to handle it. And I feel like what has helped Oregon a ton, or what will help Oregon a ton as they get ready for a playoff run, is the fact that they've gone through physical play in the Big Ten now, right? It's one thing to be undefeated in the Pac-12, and you're looking up and you say, okay, who's the real physical teams in the Pac-12? Washington, Stanford, but Stanford's not talented. Are they physical?
Not anymore.
They're not physical anymore. So like this, it might be in the old Pac-12. If Oregon was still there, they might have played one physical team, and then Oregon State's going to be a physical game because it's a rivalry game, right? Everybody over there wants to spread you out and be quick and fast and get up and down the field. Well, now Oregon's playing the Michigans of the world. You've got to go through like a Minnesota and things of that nature. You've got to play teams who aren't going to try and spread you out. They're going to try and move you around on that line of scrimmage, and Oregon has had practice dealing with that now. And so going into the playoffs, when you'll probably have to play one of these types of physical teams, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, with Sampson is real physical at the line of scrimmage. You'll have to play some of these physical teams at some point in time. I think Oregon will be better equipped to handle it now after going through a season of physical play in the Big Ten.
And right now, if they do win, and if the seeding were to stay the same, they could face the winner of the Tennessee-Ohio State game, potentially setting up a rematch with Ohio State. And the first time around, they won a 1-point game. And I'm just very curious about this game. So excited for this one. It is at 7 o'clock on CBS, and Oregon, as of now, a 3.5-point favorite. Your first game, CJ.
When they announced the 12-team playoff, my second thought was, that's going to make a game like UNLV, Boise State matter in a way that it wouldn't in any other type of situation, right? Like, this is for a playoff berth. Both of these teams are ranked ahead of Army. I would assume even with an Army win and a UNLV win, UNLV would still be ranked ahead of Army. This is their playoff start now. This is a playoff game for both of these teams. And in past years, I probably wouldn't watch the Mountain West Championship game. I'd consume it on social media and in highlights from other games. But this year, because it is a game that matters for a playoff spot, I am really intrigued by this. We talked about the UNLV quarterback situation, the Holy Cross guy. My dad never lets me forget. We spent a whole segment on a dude from Holy Cross.
Who didn't matter.
But we talked about him deciding to sit out this year. And the reports out of UNLV at the time, and I thought it was just speak. I thought it was just fan speak, coach speak. They're trying to hype this guy up. Was, hey, we really wanted the other guy to be the quarterback. It was just this one right here is much more athletic, and so we ran with him. We have full faith in the new guy coming in, and lo and behold, you look up, UNLV has one conference loss by 5 to Boise State, and they're everywhere they want to be. right where they want to be. Whereas in Boise State, on the other hand, has one loss in a close game against an Oregon team who is the best team in the nation right now, and they can win this. They get into the playoffs, and let's see. We've seen Boise State, as you rock your Boise State T-shirt, we've seen them make magical things happen in the postseason. This is going to be fun to watch.
This is probably the number one reason I wanted the playoff to expand, for a group of 5, a non-power conference team, to have a chance to make it into the college football playoff and compete on merit. And right now, Boise State has the opportunity to be that team, which just feels right given the history of Boise State in that space as one of the very few teams that has gotten to a point where they've been able to play in big, previously BCS games, and they've won. They've won in a Fiesta Bowl twice. Don't put Boise State in a Fiesta Bowl because they know how to win in Arizona. But this UNLV team's really good. Their go-go offense is great. Ricky White is one of the best receivers in the country, and this should come down to, can Boise State stop Ricky White? And can UNLV stop Ashton Genty?
Have we voted on the Heisman yet? We still got another week.
Another week.
So conference championship games will matter in that sort of a race, won't they?
That's a good question.
Because the regular
know.
season isn't over.
Yeah.
Because Army and Navy play next week.
Right.
So I would think that we hadn't voted yet.
Then it's big because
yeah.
Travis Hunter's not playing this weekend, and Ashton Genty is. This is a chance. It's supposed to be foggy, 25. I did wear my Boise State t-shirt because my dad is currently en route to Boise, Idaho, where he is meeting. He's not golfing. He's going to the game. Okay. It's supposed to be like 25 degrees, 30 degrees, and foggy.
Is he getting there early so he can stand in line to get the cool poster?
He's not getting there early to stand in line and get a cool poster, but it is fun. My cousin's son, and she always tells me what that makes him in my life, and I always forget. I just call him a cousin. My cousin's kids are my cousins. I almost said my cousin's kids are my kids.
That's your second cousin.
Is that my second cousin?
Yeah.
Is it that simple?
Yeah.
Okay, my second cousin, two of my second cousins go to Boise State. And one of them is in the band, and he is a massive Boise State fan, a very smart college football fan who has been all about tracking Boise State's probability of getting into the college football playoff, and do they get a first-round bye? Would the Big 12 champion leap Boise State? And the Big 12 commissioner has been talking that talk all week, believing that there is no world where the Big 12 champion should finish behind Boise State, the Mountain West champion, if that's what happens. Does Boise State win handedly enough that they make that a non-question for the committee? Because the way this is going to work is the committee is going to take all these teams and they're going to re-rank them. They're going to put the teams out and re-rank based on the play of this weekend. It gets complicated because they can't re-rank the teams that aren't playing this weekend. So that's where you get the notion that Alabama is situated ahead of Miami, South Carolina, and Ole Miss, because they said that in the last rankings show. But those other teams, it can all get mixed and matched around. So there is no guarantee that Boise is in there at 4 and gets a bye. But if they go out and absolutely whoop UNLV, it would certainly help their case. So go Broncos. I'm part of a Boise State family by extension, and they have given me some of the happiest moments in my college football viewing life, and we'll see if they get the win. My other game this weekend is the SMU-Clemson game, just because, again, for the ramifications, it's not like anyone is looking at the schedule of games saying, man, I can't wait to watch SMU-Clemson. But for SMU being in a position where could the conference championship game kill their college football playoff hopes? Would we see the first case in the first year of the college football playoff of a team being punished for making it to the college football or to their conference championship game and then losing? And that could happen to SMU if they lose to Clemson. It shouldn't, in my opinion, but it could.
That's not why they're being punished. They're being punished because they didn't beat anybody. They played 4 of the bottom 5 teams in the ACC and 2 of the top 7 teams in the ACC. That win over Louisville is really, really good. I'll give you that. Their next best win is Pitt at 7-5. They lost to BYU. That's why they're being kept out.
But
okay,
if they did not play, they would be in, based on where they are in the rankings currently.
Yeah,
they're
probably they're 4 or 5 spots too high right? Like that's where it is.
Sure.
But if they win, none of this matters. All of this is moot.
I hope they do win, because Clemson's out here feeling like we've been here before. Dabo Swinney's saying we could be the first 3-loss team. We went from being the first 15-0 team to win a national championship. We could be the first 3-loss team. I'm like, slow your roll.
I hope they lose and they bump Alabama out. That won't happen, but I hope it does. And then I want to hear the committee like explain that to
Break it
the
down
people
to us like
in
we're
the
five.
in the Southeastern Conference.
They would take it really well.
Oh. No, they won't.
It would be a very rational Sunday.
They're still trying to pit Ole Miss and South Carolina in. What a weird place. What's my next game? It's also SMU Clemson for the reasons that you said. And because like this, unfortunately for SMU, or fortunately, I don't know how you guys want to look at it. For both of these teams, this is another playoff game. Their playoffs start right now. You win and you're in, you lose and you're out. Let's go. When you think about what Clemson is compared to what SMU is, it's like, how in the hell did SMU even get here? SMU paid to sit at the cool table. And it's not even the coolest of the cool tables. They're not getting a full share. They're not even getting a partial share of ACC revenue. Not yet, right? Like they're just in that conference and getting nothing in return financially, and they found themselves in the conference championship game, whereas Clemson is one of the teams who make that conference go, who drives the revenue in that conference. I think that if we take it from less of a national, more to a conference sort of thinking standpoint, the ACC's got to be wanting SMU to win so they can go to Clemson and to Florida State and to others in that conference who are thinking about following their lead and say, hey, we've got good teams over here. You don't have to leave. You can stay. Next deal, we can get money. But if you do leave, we'll be all right because we don't need you in the first damn place, right? Like that's where I feel like the ACC is right now from a administrative standpoint. I'm super intrigued by this game also.
My cousin's cousin is not my second cousin. This is why I always get wrong.
What is it?
Because I allow you to talk me into it
It is
being
your
my second
second cousin.
It's not my second cousin. It's my first cousin once removed. Your second cousin is the child of one of your parents' first cousins. So your parents' cousin's kid is your second cousin. Your cousin's kid is your first cousin once removed.
I thought once removed is...
Once removed always makes me feel like it's like death.
I thought once removed is when you stop claiming them.
No.
Right? Like, oh, I don't claim that person. That's my cousin once removed.
No.
Okay.
It is your... If you share a grandparent, then your cousins... Wait a minute.
Okay. Buckle up.
Luke told me first cousin once removed, and I believe that's what my cousin has always told me.
No, I think
because it just sounds convoluted.
I think
First
that's
cousin once removed doesn't feel like he's part of the family
Yeah, I
anymore.
think
He's been removed.
I think that's a big sky area thing. They're wrong if that's what they're telling you. That's your second cousin. I'm almost certain that's your second cousin.
No, it is a first cousin once removed.
Okay.
A cousin's cousin is a distant cousin rather than a cousin-in-law, because a distant cousin sounds better than a cousin-in-law.
You've confused me. Let's keep this going.
Family trees are hard. All right, our NFL games. My first is Chargers-Chiefs, and I will just leave it with the fact that you're saying there is a chance that the Los Angeles Chargers could win their first division since 2009. They are currently in second place to the Chiefs. They are 8-4. The Chiefs are 11-1. That is a lot of ground to make up. They only have a 5% chance of overcoming the Chiefs down the home stretch, but they have to beat the Chiefs in order to make that even a possibility. Over the last 4 games, the Chiefs face the Browns, the Texans, the Steelers, and the Broncos. The Chargers play the Bucs, the Patriots, and the Raiders, and the Broncos. So 3 of the 4 for the Chargers have non-winning below 500 records. There is an opportunity to arrive. Now, the Chiefs have managed to win 11 games this season, even when it looks like it's a game that could go the opposite direction. The good Glenda the Good Witch, a.k.a. Taylor Swift, wipes in with her magical powers and bops them on the head and gives them the win. But I like this Chargers team. They are ahead of schedule. I don't think they're a true contender this year, but it could be fun to see that race get shooken up a bit if they were to beat the Chiefs.
They beat the Chiefs this week. All the Chiefs need to do is win one of their next 4 to clinch that division, correct? Okay. So this game is for the Chiefs to go ahead and knock it out, clinch the division, and focus on clinching the 1 seed in that bye in the first round. What are we calling that? The Super Wild Card round. Holy mackerel, are more people coming up?
Just wait till they open that U.S. foods truck and they all come out.
Oh, we can't be smuggling people in trucks. That's what Trump has warned us about.
No, we're too busy smuggling people on airplanes to Paris.
That's pretty funny.
That was crazy.
That's hilarious. Okay.
What's your NFL game?
I don't know. Jacob, when you get a chance, throw it up.
Yours is Titans-Jags. Wow, a game only a mother could love.
Titans-Jags. Draft implications, baby. Jags in there. 2-9. Titans 3-2. Jags get as of right now, they would have the number 1 overall draft pick in the 2025 NFL draft. And I think as of right now, I'll double check that when Jessica starts talking. I think the Titans are 7th in the NFL draft this year. A win by the Jags would tie them with the Titans and give them the lead at 3-10. So the Titans could theoretically, with a loss, move Jacksonville behind them in the draft and move up at least 1 spot in the NFL draft. Also, from just a what do you have standpoint, all right, how much longer are we going to do this with Mr. Levis? How many data points do we need before we decide, okay, we've got enough and we got it all figured out? So every game is a game for his career right now, because teams can go from, hey, you're our future, to I'm not so sure about this guy, to completely not believing in you, moving on from you like that. And a win right here could keep some of the faith in Will Levis. You don't want to be bad ever. You don't want to be hopeless. And I don't feel like there's a ton of hope surrounding the Tennessee Titans right now, or for that matter, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think that there's some questions from fans about their guy as well in Trevor Lawrence, and about their ability to build around him on the offensive side of the ball and get things right defensively. And head coaching, obviously, is an issue in Jacksonville right now. So, yeah, that's why it's my NFL RAGGOW this week.
Jacob would like you to know Will Levis is top 10 in the NFL since returning from injury in yards, touchdowns, and passer rating.
And goofy pictures? He's not playing that damn well, Jack. He is not playing
well,
Jacob.
He hasn't given us near the rate of goofy pictures that he provided.
I watched that Texans game start to finish. The dude was awful.
He was not awful the entirety of the game.
He was awful.
A game that will not be awful. I am amped for the Browns-Steelers rematch. Jameis Winston coming off of the most Jameis game of all time, where he threw 3 interceptions, 2 pick sixes, and also a boatload of passing yards. Almost beat the Broncos. Broncos get the win in that one. I'm curious how they bounce back. The Browns team has become a plucky little exciting team to watch since making Jameis Winston the starting quarterback. And obviously the Steelers have been so good defensively this year. Can their offense get enough if this were to turn into a shootout? I don't think that it will, based on the Steelers' defensive success. However, there's an opportunity there, and these two teams hate each other. I love watching teams that hate each other. We should have more of that.
Steelers just won a game by scoring 44 points, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
with 2 defensive touchdowns.
They've got enough.
Sure. Are you going to get defensive touchdowns?
Yeah, I think with T.J. Watt back there and with that Steelers defense, I think that you can. And even without the 44, that means they scored 30. Right? Yes. So, like, that's the Steelers' offense is good, is fine. They'll do whatever. They can win low scoring or high scoring. My game of the week is Falcons-Vikings. The Vikings, with a win and some help, could clinch a playoff berth in this game right here. They could go. I think they need one. It's like 5 or 6 different scenarios. I'm not going to remember all of them. I think with a win and a Cardinals loss, who are the Cardinals playing? The Seahawks? I think it's Cardinals-Seahawks. I think a win and a Cardinals loss, and the Vikings will clinch a playoff berth.
Seahawks.
And then, or a win and a Cardinals tie. I think that's what it is. A Cardinals-Seahawks tie clinches the berth, and then if they win and the Cardinals lose, they need like the Bucks to lose or something like that. Either way it goes, the Vikings right there in the thick of it for the NFC North crown, and it looks like they'll get a chance to lock up a spot in the playoffs at the end of this week. And the Falcons, Kirk Cousins, had us all fooled. Like 5-6 weeks into the season, he has regressed mightily to the point to where if you ask a Falcons fan, hey, should Penix be starting? They say, yeah, go ahead and start the rookie. It's time to let Kirk Cousins go.
Yeah, if you're the Vikings, you want to wrap up that playoff clinching ASAP, because even in the loss last night, that Packers team is playing very, very well. We got to take a break. When we come back, we will do a little Music Friday to send you off into the weekend, what we are listening to, or I guess more appropriately, what we listened to, because unless you live under a rock, Spotify Wraps dropped, Apple Music Replays dropped, and they were all over everyone's timeline of what you listened to the most this year. CJ had some interesting categories on his. I'm an Apple Music girly, so I don't get the fun categories that Spotify gives out. I just get the facts. And I had a surprising #1 song of the year. It did not come out this year. It did not come out last year. But I unfortunately must continue to listen to it every single day for the rest of my life. We'll get into it when we come back.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals takes it straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Look at that. We got the whole Grizzlies team just infiltrated our studio. Santi Aldama's in the house. Look at everybody. The whole Grizzlies team. Look at Zach Edey's in the house. John Morant's in the house.
Noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Grizzlies are just having fun out there tonight. Morant around a screen. Bumped by Wagner. No look to Smart. Lays it up on the window and in. And it is all Grizz. The Grizzlies have the fans on their feet at FedEx Forum.
Tigers
go
beat Tulane in a game that nobody called. Nobody thought was going to happen. They were a 2-touchdown underdog. And they got the win.
Number 25 in the AP right now, number 24 in the coaches poll right now. So this is a Tigers football team that's going to end the regular season ranked in both major polls, possibly ranked in the CFP as well with 10 wins. That's a damn good season.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Yellow laces, really bright yellow primary color. You got black on the trim and on the edges.
I gotta get 'em.
And you got some red there as well. Look at that right there, Mike. Look at that right there.
Man, look at that G. Look at that G, boy. That G is moving strong right there, too, man.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Welcome back on this Friday. Before we get out of here and into our weekend, some Music Friday. And oh boy, everybody posted their Spotify Wraps. Everybody posted their Apple Music replays. This is the only time of year that I feel some kind of way about being on Apple Music instead of Spotify. You guys get more fun.
What way is that?
We just get the facts. You get a cool little video. I'm going to embarrass Chris so poorly.
Let's do it.
His #1 song this year.
What was it?
I forget the name of it, but it's off the new Justin Timberlake album. and he's in the 0.01% of Justin Timberlake listeners.
That was a good album.
And he was shocked by this.
'Cause not a lot
But
of
there's
people
a like he got a video message from Justin Timberlake in his Wrapped video that they give you on Spotify.
What is he embarrassed about?
I don't know. He thinks
shouldn't
it's
be.
not as cool to like Justin Timberlake anymore.
Why?
I don't know.
I listened to was it Tempo? I listened to that earlier this week. I listened to Effing Up the Disco also because we're trying to compile our top songs of the year. Listen, man, the issue with that Justin Timberlake album was that it came out right before the Beyonce one, and we just completely forgot about it. Because when it came out, we were all like, oh, Justin is back. And then the thing happened that's going to ruin the tour, and he became sort of make funnable again. But yeah, there's some good stuff on there.
Anyway, I want a video message from Beyonce was my point of that.
Did you get one?
No, we don't get video messages on Apple
Beyonce's
Replay.
not giving video messages on Spotify
Technically,
either.
Justin's not giving video messages either. It's just like a clip of him talking about the specific song at one of his shows, giving a behind the scenes of how that goes at the tour.
Oh, okay.
He had to cancel some tour dates.
Oh,
some back problems.
Ooh.
I know. Not here though.
He's got to get some trainers.
He made it here. What was your
I don't know. Throw it up.
Spotify
like,
Wrapped?
I don't pay it much attention. Gary Clark Jr. was my #1 artist. Childish Gambino was 2. Boney James, Glorilla, Fall Out Boy rounded out my top 5. Boney James is on there because he is great work music to listen to, right? I can put him on and listen to him as I'm knocking out stuff post-show and getting prepared for other shows. So that's why Boney James is as high as he is. I would bet, though, if they did the last 2 or 3 weeks, instead of Boney James, it would be John Batiste. Because Beethoven, what is it? Beethoven's Blues. Incredible.
It's gotten a lot of run for me, too.
And then my top songs, When Your Train Pulls In, Gary Clark Jr., Yeah Glow from Glorilla, Too Sweet. That Who's Your Too Sweet song? That's a good ass song.
It's a good song.
That's a good ass song.
One of the songs of the year.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It'll be on my list. All There, another Glorilla song. I was big into Glow this year. I don't know if you guys can tell. And Dancing in the Country. I love that damn song. I don't know why, but Dancing in the Country makes me so happy.
I was surprised that I wasn't surprised about this. Let's be perfectly clear.
Okay.
My top artist, Beyonce. My top album, Cowboy Carter. I spent a lot of time with the woman that they named the greatest pop star of the 21st century this week, and I have been high on Cowboy Carter all year long. When I looked at my top songs, I had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of my top 15 are Beyonce songs. The most
really
listened
like
to
Ed
off the
Sheeran.
album being Ya Ya. Yeah, see, here's the deal. My #1 song is the A-Team by Ed Sheeran. It will always be the A-Team by Ed Sheeran, not because I like the A-Team by Ed Sheeran, which is a very emotional song about crack cocaine. It is because every time I start my car and my phone connects, the first song that plays in my automatic play is the A-Team by Ed Sheeran, because in alphabetical order, this is the first song in my Apple library. And you may say to yourself, Jess, why don't you just delete the song? I don't want to delete the song. And I think I've said this before. My next song is a spoken word from a musical called A Little Night Music, where it's the voice of Catherine Zeta-Jones going, a virgin. That's not gonna work because that's weird to get into the car to. And then the next song is Vampire Weekend's A-Punk, which I really love that song, and I don't want that song to be ruined by it being the song that I hear all the time. So anyway, I just keep rolling with Ed Sheeran's The A-Team. Masquerade is a song from the play Stereophonic that I saw in the spring that I love that song. It's become one of my favorite songs, obviously. And then a ton of Beyonce, Pink Pony Club. Shout out T-Pain's cover of War Pigs from his live album. That did get T-Pain into my top 5 artists of the year because I played the hell out of his live album, especially early on in the year. I loved Rosalie's album this year. I actually liked Maggie Rogers' album as well. Didn't get a ton of love. And then an Ariana Grande song sneaking in there.
What were you surprised by?
I was surprised that for my November listening, because Apple gives you top artists by month.
Yeah.
And Kendrick Lamar is my November. I was surprised that Wicked was not my November, and I was surprised that John Batiste wasn't my November. I would have thought both of them might have gotten the edge on Kendrick. However, I have played that Luther song no less than 500 times. Like, if we started the count now, it's a great song.
Okay.
It's a good album. I was even listening to it yesterday. But I was a little disappointed that Zach Bryan snuck into my most listened to artists. I couldn't name you one Zach Bryan song.
But it gets played.
I guess.
It gets played.
I guess.
You vibe
But
out
shout
to
out
Zach
Beyonce.
Bryan.
February, March, April, and June. She could have taken it every month. But I gave some extra
I was
love.
surprised I didn't have a Sabrina Carpenter song on there. Also surprised Pink Pony Club, specifically from Chaperone, wasn't on there either. I went through a big Taste and Pink Pony
I was
Club
surprised
phase.
one of Glow's songs off her new album wasn't on mine.
Yeah.
And Sabrina, more Sabrina.
I was also surprised by these genres that Spotify wants to throw out
That's
there.
what I want. I want the funny genres.
Like, what the hell is this? What the hell are these things?
You got McBling, didn't you?
What is
Chris also got
McBling?
McBling. What is a McBling?
What does that mean?
Somebody tell me what a McBling is.
Was his McBling R&B and hip hop? Is McBling only for
I
R&B
think his
and
was
hip hop?
McBling. No. Oh, God, I wish I remembered. His was McBling. Keep talking. I think I have access to Spotify.
I'm just trying to figure out what is bougie. How we having bougie throwback rap and hip hop? What is bougie
makes sense.
rap and hip hop?
It is Jay-Z, Kendrick, Drake.
How's that bougie again?
Oh, yes, I have, Chris.
I'm confused. And then what is McBling?
That's what I don't know. I'm unclear what McBling is.
Old school slow jams. I know old school slow jams R&B. I know that. Tony Braxton is absolutely that. Victoria Monet is not old school. What are we talking about here?
I love that Tony Braxton was on yours after we just talked about Tamar Braxton yesterday.
Oh, yeah, I was banging Tony Braxton songs this year, man.
His top song was Flame by Justin Timberlake.
Okay.
That was the song.
All
I'm
right.
trying to see what his McBling was because I saw your McBling on your story, and then his came up with McBling.
Well, just keep watching the story and we'll keep talking. I just don't know what it means to be a McBlinger. Right? Like that sounds.
But I want to know what it means.
That sounds
to
like
be
a
McBlinger.
necklace that McDonald's puts in the Happy Meal. Like, come to McDonald's, get you a Big Mac, get you a Happy Meal, and inside each Happy Meal, we got that McBling for you, right? Like, that doesn't make sense.
Oh, no. His was worse. McBling Strut Pop.
What is who's
McBling
on there?
Strut Pop. Beyonce, Charlie XCX, and Justin Timberlake.
That's because of you.
Yes.
Yeah,
some of
that's
it.
your fault.
So I made my husband a McBling Strut Pop
You're
king.
McBling Strut popping this man.
Let's see what his other category was, because they do the ones
too.
back to back.
They do too.
His other strange category
I miss
was Royal Core Soft Piano Classical Season. May was your Royal Core Soft Piano Classical Season.
That's probably because of you
and
also.
before John Batiste had his Beethoven blues moment, Chris went all in on classical music in May and June.
Oh, I forgot about that phase.
I'd come home and it was just straight classical hits. And by hits, I mean old music being played at all times.
Legit old music before America existed. I missed last year's Spotify rap because it gave you like, hey, these are the categories that you fit into as a music listener. And then they gave you like a big sort of to-do about, hey, this is your musical listening style right here in a nutshell. They only did that for like 2 months this year. And whatever, it's fine. But yeah, I missed that from last year. But yeah, those are.
Didn't they like give you a location last year too? Like your music taste was this.
I think that was 2
place?
years ago.
Somebody said it's because of the layoffs. They laid off a lot of people, a lot of the creative teams. They weren't able to go as hard this year.
Okay.
Also, just so everyone knows, Beyonce was also Chris's top artist of the year.
Because of you?
Probably. No, he really liked that album too. Okay. But it was definitely my influence.
Yes, it's because of you. You're
I
ruining
do
this man's
enjoy
musical
some people.
taste.
Yeah, some people complain. They're like, "Oh, nobody wants to see your Spotify Wrapped." No, I want to see your Spotify Wrapped. I love seeing people Spotify Wrapped. I think it's fun. I think it's a fun insight into what people were listening to this year. It can tell you what kind of year somebody was having.
I think it can be a bit much if, as you're scrolling through whatever social media site you are, it's Spotify rap after Spotify rap after Apple replay, boom, 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 boom. That's why I just threw it in my story, and if you click on my story, then you know. I gave you a warning, like, hey, this is gonna happen, and so if you kept clicking, you'd see it. But yeah, I think just throw it on your story. Don't clutter up my timeline with it. That's not why I'm
Oh
on
yeah,
it.
no, I don't want it on the timeline.
Yeah.
Please, that's a story post.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
Know the etiquette of
Yes.
social media. You don't post it on your page.
No.
It's a little flip of the story.
Treat it like you do your kids and your dogs, man. Put it on your story. Don't put it on your page. I don't want to see
Well,
that.
if we're getting into that, we don't need to see your kid that much on your story either. Spotify Wrapped, dog, kid. That's the preferential order for me in what I'm seeing.
I think I'd agree.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're ending the show on an agreement. Going into the weekend, 2 Grizzlies games. Grizzlies Celtics tomorrow. Grizzlies Wizards on Saturday. We will be back on Monday to talk about those, along with all of the football action for this weekend. We will know the college football playoff when we are back here on Monday. I hope everyone has a great weekend. If you are out at the St. Jude Marathon, please say hi. And if you are running it like me, Godspeed, good luck. May us not die, and may it not be 25 degrees when we start tomorrow morning. Bye.
A lot of people think the Rush are out to get Memphis.
They are.
47%.
You made it a chat question?
Yeah.